today on the AFA channel on your screen or online. That's the Brooklyn area of Manhattan. We're glad that you're with us. Kevin McCullough, so glad to have you each and every weekday. As we seek to do some simple stuff, we want to obliterate confusion, amplify truth, and be quick to also pursue clarity. And real quickly, speaking of clarity, and Brandon, I need the phone number on my screen, but we are asking you to give us great clarity on how this broadcast, this operation, this network, this help, all the help that you get from AFA, how it is in some way benefited you. If you feel like you understand the events of the day better, if you feel like you are more informed about your faith and how to apply it, if you feel like you now have a strategy for at least trying to answer the cultural issues that pop up in your own neighborhood, we want to know about it. We want to know what difference it's making. 877-876-8893 is where you can go and tell us. 877-876-8893, and please go and yeah, tell us what has happened and how it's been of help. All right, we're waiting on our guest, but I want you to at least see what we're intending to talk about with David A.R. White. He's one of the producers of the film that opens tonight in theaters coast to coast, called simply "God's Not Dead."
You prayed and believed your whole life, and here you are. Explain that to me.
What do you say to people that are offended by your show because you pray to Jesus in every episode?
If we disown him, he'll disown us.
When a 12-year-old watches his mother dying of cancer, a God who would allow that is not worth believing in. Life is really a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury and signifying nothing.
Name? Wheaton, Josh Wheaton, Philosophy 150. You might want to think about a different instructor. Come on, man, it can't be that bad. Think Roman Colosseum, people cheering for your death.
I am Professor Radisson. This is Philosophy 150. I would like to bypass senseless debate altogether and jump to the conclusion, which every sophomore is already aware of: there is no God. All that I require from each of you is that you fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words: God is dead. Mr. Wheaton, is something wrong?
I can't do what you want. I'm a Christian.
If you cannot bring yourself to admit that God is dead, then you will need to defend the antithesis.
Think of Jesus as my friend.
You think Jesus is God?
I don't want to disappoint him.
So your acceptance of this challenge may be the only meaningful exposure to God and Jesus they'll ever have.
See, to me, he's not dead. I don't want anyone to get talked out of believing in him just because this professor thinks they should.
Mr. Wheaton, are you ready?
We're going to put God on trial.
Do you think you're smarter than me, Wheaton? Do not try to humiliate me in front of my students. In that classroom, there is a God. I'm him.
This experiment is over. You get to decide who the most important person in your life is. Me, Professor Radisson.
But I have to do this thing. Like it's something that God wants me to do. I can't just turn away from it.
You just want to ensnare them in your primitive superstition.
What I want is for them to make their own choice. That's what God wants.
You have no idea how much I'm going to enjoy failing you.
Yeah, but who are you really looking to fail? Me or God?
God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion.
Science supports his existence. You know the truth. So why do you hate him? It's a very simple question. Why do you hate God?
God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside.
All right, that's the film that opens tonight in theaters coast to coast across the country, and some of those screenings have been going on. Brent, did you say anything to me during that clip? Okay. Did he call us or did he not call us? That's not what Okay. We were supposed to talk with David A.R. White, who he's one of the partners in PureFlix Entertainment, which is producing the film and is rolling it out, and very excited about it. We spoke with Kevin Sorbo on this show. He was here in person last Monday, so if you'd like to know more about the film, you can always go back and rewatch that episode as well. More than happy to make that available. Oh, and here he comes. David A.R. White is with us. David, it's Kevin McCullough. So glad to be speaking with you again.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Now, when we were together last Monday here in New York, you and Sorbo couldn't stop from cracking jokes at every question I asked, so I'm going to try to ask all serious questions this time.
Well, I have all serious answers planned.
I know the film has been coast to coast. You've got screenings that have happened everywhere. The New York area had a screening last night that I was at. Very, very well received and very well done, David. Congratulations on an excellent film. What are your hopes for this weekend for people that are listening to us right now?
Well, the most important thing is that everybody would just go out on the opening weekend. It's such an important weekend because if it's like when you go out and you support any film, for that matter, you're basically you buy a ticket, you're casting your vote, saying I want more of this.
Right.
And so that's what sends a message to Hollywood, saying that we want more Christian faith-based content like this. Hollywood is definitely, they don't really pay attention so much to the independents until their box offices come in. And then they realize, wow, there's actually, all those people in the flyover states is how they put it, the 160 million plus Christians that claim to go to church once a week, that there's an audience there, that they want to see faith and family content, life-inspiring, life-affirming content. And so that's what's so important. I just encourage everybody to, if you can, go out this weekend. It'll make a big difference because it matters then for us staying in next weekend and even expanding into the rest of the country. So it's so important.
It's really critical, and I've been associated with a few of these films that have launched and have been able to do that. You have a good, strong push on week one. You can get into more theaters for week two. And then via word of mouth, it continues to have a life that goes sometimes quite viral beyond that. I mean, Passion of the Christ started big, stayed big, etc. But some other films start relatively small, but because of what people say about them, they can have a really good run. David A.R. White is who we're speaking with. He's one of the partners in PureFlix Entertainment, and he's also one of the producers and also one of the cast members of God's Not Dead, the movie. That's also the website that you can go to and see where theaters in your area are showing it, God's Not Dead, the movie, all one word, .com, GodsNotDeadTheMovie.com. David, this particular subject matter, I was listening to a radio broadcast yesterday, actually, on my drive home. And there was a rather pessimistic talk show host here in New York that didn't think that this problem really exists. This is a bunch of Christians getting all upset about something. This isn't a real issue. Professors don't really come down on individual religious belief like this. Your reaction to how that particular talk show host was portraying it?
Well, if you look at the end of this movie, we list about 40 or 50 cases where this has happened in the university setting, real life cases that it's happening right now, and the fights that are going on. In fact, 2 weeks ago in Florida, there was a professor who made all of his students write the name of Jesus on a piece of paper, and they put it on the ground and had everybody stand on it. As this shock value thing. It's like it exists on all these different levels, from there all the way up to we base this on a true story on all these elements in this movie. And so the bottom line, though, is yes, there's discrimination. Yes, there's atheists, agnostics, people who are angry about this film, people who are angry about the message that we're trying to send. But the most important thing is just to live and love like Jesus. Our goal in this film is not to ignite controversy. Our goal is to basically encourage people to stand up for what they believe. And if you are an atheist and if you claim that there is no God, then to challenge them where they're at in their beliefs. And this movie really takes the viewer center stage, and it asks the most important question I think that you can ever ask in your life is there a God?
Right.
And what do you believe? And if there is a God, then what are you going to do about that? And we want to encourage people to dive into the scriptures, to research it more, to really look at creationism versus evolution, to it's not this movie is not about controversy. It's not about trying to ignite anger. It's about love and inspiring people.
Well, one of the folks that saw it last night here in New York were saying to me that what they took away from it was that they have kind of seen, through the examples of the characters on the screen, a real clear path for themselves to be able to articulate why they believe what they believe a little bit better. That's got to be a good side benefit from this.
Yeah, it is. This is a great tool to open up conversation in your relationships with people, and that's why we encourage people to invite people that may not come to a Sunday morning service, but they will go to see a movie. An amazing thing happens when those lights come down. You allow that movie to take you to places that you wouldn't even allow your best friend to take you. The walls come down, and for some reason, movies have that effect on us. That's what we love about them. They tell stories, and all throughout history, the greatest leaders have always told, all the way to Jesus Christ. He told stories, parables and those are the things that stick in our mind. Is the stories, and that's what God's Not Dead is. It's definitely a conversational story, conversational opening, and it's a wonderful, entertaining story that hopefully uplifts and inspires that human spirit.
How long has this project taken out of your life, David? When from first concept till tonight, when it opens officially? How long has it been?
Well, PureFlix does a lot of movies. That's our company, and we do anywhere between, we shoot about 5 to 8 movies a year. We release 24 movies a year. So, from a lot of different producers. So we've been working on God's Not Dead for about 2 years. But we have a wonderful group of people that have all been working on this film, even from every element of it, from the writing standpoint to the production to the attorneys that are involved and then all the marketing people, all the people involved in the distribution to take a movie out to 800 theaters, is not an easy thing, and then also to actually market to all those people, to people like yourselves who have been spreading the word about it. I mean, we couldn't do it without anybody, and so I certainly don't. We've been working on it for about 2 years, but a lot of you guys too have been involved at this for many, many months.
I've written 3 successful books, and people have asked me frequently, Kev, what's it like? And I say, well, it's kind of like having a baby. That's the best way, because you long for it to be done. It's hard, it's laborious. You plow through it. Is making a movie a similar process? I mean, it may not be exactly intellectually, but is it like giving birth to a baby tonight? Are you going to have a little infant that you're so happy that it's finally in the world tonight?
We have some of our head of marketing guys, Bill and Barry. They I think it was one of them is having a baby. Actually, he's actually having a baby. So one of them had posted up. One of them had posted up that hey, it's going to be like giving birth, after all these months. God's Not Dead comes out tonight, and then the other one responded to thinking that the other person had given birth. Did you have the baby yet? And so it was this whole idea of whether or not, whether they were talking about the real baby or the God's Not Dead. Yeah, it is.
That's hilarious.
You plan for these things for so long, and ultimately it's like life. It's like you train. The Lord requires us to be excellent in what we do, and after that, He says, give it to me, and I'll take it. And that's what we've done with God's Not Dead. We've put it out there for the audience to watch and hopefully be encouraged and changed. And ultimately, it's the Lord that does the rest. And we praise God for that.
My asterisk to my story is that every time someone would ask me that and I would say that, my lovely bride would turn to me and say, you really have no idea what you're saying, do you?
Yeah, no doubt. There's always that side, too.
Yeah. All right. David A.R. White, one of the cast members. He plays a pastor in the film. Kevin Sorbo, Shane Harper. It's a great, great film. Looks great on the big screen. It will have you.
Dark Dynasty guys, too.
Say what?
Their first movie. Willie and Corey Robertson are in it.
Oh, that's right. The Duck Dynasty legend that is Willie. I was just watching his most recent episode last night on the DVR, and I thought, man, if a guy with that good of a beard can make it, why can't a baldy like myself? Anyway, so they're a part of it. Newsboys, Michael.
In my opinion, you've made it.
A huge opportunity tonight to encourage your friends, to challenge them, to have. And I like your suggestion, David. Invite some atheist friends of yours. Go watch the movie and go get coffee and dessert after, and just have a really good conversation about what you see. I think it's going to open up a lot of hearts to discussions that they wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah, and it's also great for even students parents and students opening up that conversation of what could happen in the university setting. There's that element too. It's a wonderful discussion starter on so many different levels.
I was speaking with, because I have a reason to interact with him on a weekly basis, but the former SNL member, Joe Piscopo, yesterday. I was talking to him yesterday, and he said, yeah, when my kids go off to college, they get a lot of wild ideas in their head. And I said, and unfortunately, more and more of them coming from academia, aren't they? And he goes, yeah, that's right. It's kind of a different world out there. So it is. Well, friends, do it. Encourage your friends to go with you. Make this the #1 movie at the box office this weekend. If you want to know where it's playing, how to get tickets, GodsNotDeadTheMovie.com. GodsNotDeadTheMovie.com. David A.R. White, always a pleasure to speak with you, my friend. Come on back anytime.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
All right. Kevin McCullough, so glad to have you with us. Stay with us, because I'm going to take your calls on what we were talking about before we had the chance to visit with David, and that is what's going on with the First Lady in China right now. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. I'm Kevin McCullough, coming right back on AFA Today.